All right, let's get right into it. We've got a date locked in, December 3rd. That's when Fusaka, Ethereum's next massive upgrade, goes live. And if we've learned anything from the past, these kinds of events can really move the price of ETH. And that right there leads us to the billion-dollar question that's on every single investor's mind. Is this upgrade the thing that finally sparks a huge breakout? Or are we just looking at another classic, buy the rumor, sell the news situation? We're going to break it all down. But look, to really get what Fusaka is all about, we first have to understand the problem it's trying to fix. And it's a concept that gets thrown around all the time in crypto. It's called the blockchain trilemma. The idea, which actually came from Vitalik Buterin, is actually pretty straightforward. A blockchain just can't be amazing at everything at once. You've got security, decentralization, and scalability, and you can only ever pick two. You always have to sacrifice one. And for the longest time, Ethereum made its choice crystal clear. It went all in on security and decentralization, which, don't get me wrong, is awesome. It makes the network super robust. But the trade-off, it was scalability. And if you've ever tried to do anything on Ethereum during a busy period, you have felt the pain of that choice. I'm talking about those insane gas fees. Well, that's where Fusaka comes into the picture. This is Ethereum's big, ambitious play to finally tackle that scalability problem head-on, to try and balance things out without giving up the security and decentralization that make it so powerful. So, what is this thing really? Well, in simple terms, it's a hard fork. That just means it's a fundamental change to the rules of the network, and it's happening on December 3rd. But you can forget all the technical jargon. The number one goal here, the whole reason for this upgrade, is to massively, and I mean massively, boost scalability. Now, you might be thinking, is this risky? And that's a fair question. But here's the thing. This isn't some shot in the dark. The devs have been testing this like crazy. Fusaka has already been rolled out on 3 separate testnets, and every single one went off smooth as silk. No issues. That's exactly what you want to see. All right, so how are they actually pulling this off? What's the secret sauce? Let's pop the hood for a second, because while there are a lot of little changes, there's one piece of this upgrade that is the absolute most important part of the entire puzzle. You see, it's not just one thing. Fusaka is actually this whole package deal. It's a bundle of 12 different technical upgrades, which are called EIPs. But out of all of those, there is one that is, without a doubt, the star of the show, the main event. It's EIP 7594, but everybody's calling it per dose. And trust me, this is the real game changer. And the way it works is, honestly, it's genius. Here's the easiest way to think about it. Imagine you have a giant book. Before Fusaka, if you wanted to verify that the book was legit, you had to read the entire thing, from the first page to the last. Super slow, super expensive. But after Fusaka, thanks to per dose, you only have to check a few random sentences to be sure the whole book is correct. It is so much faster, so much more efficient. That's a huge win. Okay, so that's the tech. Pretty cool, right? But what does all this under-the-hood magic actually mean for Ethereum's future? For the money? Well, this is where it gets really interesting, because this technical fix has the big institutional players watching very closely. This is where you start to see the long-term bull case really take shape. You get faster and cheaper transactions, developers get way more freedom to build cool stuff, the whole user experience gets a major facelift. We're talking about signing a transaction with your Face ID. But the real kicker? For institutional investors, scalability isn't just a nice-to-have feature, it's a must-have requirement. And this upgrade basically proves Ethereum can handle their kind of volume. Which, of course, brings us right back to our main question. With all this great stuff happening, how is it going to affect the price of ETH? You know, the best way to guess the future is often to just look at the past. And when we do that, a very clear pattern starts to show up. Just look at the history here. The Merge, Chapella, Denkun, notice a theme? With every single one, we saw these huge rallies leading up to the upgrade, and then a drop right after it happened. It's that classic buy the rumor, sell the news playbook in action. Now, yeah, Pedro was an exception, but for 3 of the last 4 major upgrades, the pattern is just impossible to ignore. But, and you knew there was a but coming, right? Could this time be different? I mean, the market's in a different spot now. You've got ETH looking kind of cheap relative to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's dominance has been slipping a little. So you have to ask yourself, could Fusaka's real, tangible improvements finally be enough to break that old pattern? So when you put it all together, what you have, as we head into December, is this classic tug-of-war. You've got these really powerful bullish catalysts on one side and some pretty significant risks on the other. In the bull corner, you've got massive potential game changers like a staked ETF. I mean, that could just open the floodgates for new money. Plus, you have that relentless institutional focus. But in the other corner, you have the risks. What if there's a technical bug? What if the whole market just decides to take a nosedive? Or maybe the biggest risk of all, what if it's just a nothing burger that doesn't generate enough hype to actually move the price? But if the bulls win this fight, the reward could be huge. The market feels like it's just been waiting for a reason to rotate into altcoins. And Fusaka, it could be that perfect spark, the catalyst that lights the fuse for ETH's next really big run. Look, at the end of the day, there are some things we know for sure. Fusaka is absolutely making Ethereum a better, stronger, more capable network for the future. That part is undeniable. But the market is its own beast, isn't it? And fundamentals don't always mean immediate price action. So I guess the question I'll leave you with is this. Is this seemingly quiet, super technical upgrade going to be the thing that leads to the loudest rally we've seen in a very long time? Well, I guess we're all about to find out.